Here are some tips that I have in mediation. The first tip is that you want to show up in good faith. That is actually one of the requirements of mediation and the court, that you show up and you mediate in good faith. A lot of people ask me what mediating in good faith actually means. And what I think is it means that you show up and for whatever time you're mediating, whether that's 2 hours, 4 hours, or even a full day, that you really are present during the mediation and that you genuinely, at least initially, listen to what the other party has to say, and that there is some meaningful exchange back and forth between the two parties. At that point, if you still feel like mediation is not successful, then you can say that you had a good faith mediation and you can end the mediation, but you have fulfilled the requirement of actually having a good faith mediation. A second tip for preparing for mediation is to make sure that the attorney that you are assigned to for mediation has a meeting with you ahead of time and actually discusses with you what your goals are for mediation. That way you have a clear game plan and a strategy. You want to make sure that you are clear with the attorney about what it is that you're hoping to achieve from the mediation. If the lawyer doesn't know what you're hoping to achieve, then the lawyer can't work towards that goal. A third recommendation that I have for mediation is that you have, by the time you go into mediation, a good rapport with your lawyer, that you trust your lawyer and that you believe that your lawyer is actually advocating on your behalf. If you don't feel that sense of connection and trust with your lawyer prior to going into mediation, it will almost assuredly mean that mediation itself won't be successful because you won't have the confidence in your lawyer's advice during the mediation. So if you don't feel comfortable with your lawyer, I suggest that you try to work towards that prior to mediation. Just some common sense tips that I like to give people for mediation is if you're going to have a really long mediation, it's good that you bring water, that you bring drinks, that you bring lunch, that you give yourself breaks and snacks because mediation can be very intense. Often mediations are remote. You will potentially be in the same room with your lawyer, or you may not. You might be by yourself and the lawyer might also be appearing remotely. Whichever of those it is, you want to have a good hydration. You want to make sure that you're taking enough breaks so that you can stay on the top of your game during the mediation. Another tip for mediation is to have patience with the process. In what we call shuttle style mediation, the mediator has to go back and forth between you and your attorney and the other side and their attorney. That means that there will be periods of time when the mediator will not be present with you. During those periods of time, take them as breaks, take them as a chance to talk to your lawyer, but don't create anxiety for yourself while the mediator is in the other room. It's best to get yourself distracted or use it as strategy and preparation time, but understand that the mediator may have to spend more time in the other room. That may be no indication of how the mediation is going. It just may be that the other room needs more time with the mediator. Have patience with the process. Another tip for mediation is that your lawyer may be willing to provide documents to the mediator prior to a mediation. In fact, your mediation agreement may talk about exactly how and when and what types of documents the mediator would find helpful. Make sure that you do the adequate preparation that you need prior to mediation. So provide your lawyer with all of those documents so they can provide those documents to the mediator so that you have the most meaningful and successful mediation as possible. Another tip for mediation is that you are as upfront and as truthful with your lawyer as possible. Your lawyer's role is not to judge you. And by virtue of the fact that you have a relationship with the lawyer, you have entered into a private attorney-client relationship. And so there is confidentiality. Therefore, it is extremely important that you are as honest with your lawyer as possible so that your lawyer can effectively work for you in the mediation. I usually tell my clients this is a no-shame zone. I am not interested in judging you. I am interested in serving and helping you. My role is to honor your story. And so I ask clients to be as upfront with me as possible from the beginning. One additional tip about mediation is if you don't feel comfortable with the agreement that is on the table, then it is important to make sure that you fully understand what is on the table. And if you cannot live with that agreement, do not sign the agreement. Make sure before you actually sign something and agree to something that it will be what you can live with going forward, because it's difficult to get out of an agreement once you have signed it. And so you should take your time. You should make sure that you carefully read the document, and you should not be rushed. If you run out of time, it's possible to ask for a second mediation. It's possible to ask for the mediation to be extended, or it's possible for the lawyers to keep negotiating with the draft that was developed in mediation. All of those alternatives are better solutions than signing and agreeing to something that you are not comfortable with. Sometimes clients ask me what the role of a mediator is, and it's important that you understand that a mediator is a neutral third party. They are limited. They are not supposed to be giving you legal advice. They are supposed to be facilitating the process. If you're in a situation where the mediator starts to give you legal advice that is different from your own attorney's advice, then I would advise you that it's important to follow your own attorney's advice. The mediator is not there to advocate for you or to have your best interests at heart. So it is important that you let them do their job, be a neutral, assess your case, give you information as to what they think a judge is likely to do, but rely on your own attorney for legal advice. One additional tip for mediation is that you will be sent a mediation agreement. That will give the roadmap for how the mediation will work. Each mediator's agreement is different, so it's worth actually reading the mediation agreement, making sure that you understand it, and signing it only if you feel comfortable. You do have a choice in who you will mediate with. You don't have to mediate with just anyone. You have a choice in specific mediators, and some mediators are authorized by the state to provide mediation. Some mediators are private mediators. Your attorney will recommend which mediator and which type of mediator they recommend. I would listen to your attorney's advice, because if you have a good mediator, that makes your chances of success at mediation even higher. If you have any questions about mediation, we would love to do a free case evaluation for you at New Leaf Family. Please let us know and don't hesitate to contact us.